Most of you watching will have been following sodium-ion batteries for quite a few years. You'll know that the basic premise is abundant material, simpler chemistry. They are potentially going to be much cheaper than lithium. You'll probably also know that for years the performance just has not been there to make it viable, particularly at scale. So CATL thinks that has all changed really at this point, and I mean they have put a lot of money into it. They launched a new sodium-ion energy storage system last week in Germany, in Munich, called their Tenor sodium system, unveiled in Munich on the 22nd of June. And I think it's worth going through what they've actually done and what they're claiming number by number, because it is a fascinating thing. Quick bit of context: lithium iron phosphate, LFP chemistry, has dominated grid scale storage for good reasons. It's safe, long-lived, and the manufacturing is at this point quite mature, but the supply chain is quite concentrated. Costs fluctuate quite a bit, and there are very real questions surrounding long-term availability as demand is just scaling up to insane levels. Sodium does not have those problems. It has basically none of them, and it is the sixth most abundant element on Earth. The supply chain is genuinely global, and the production process does not require cobalt, nickel, or lithium at all in any way. So that's obviously solving some issues there. The question has always been then whether you can make a sodium cell that performs well enough or even similarly to other chemistries to justify switching. Let's go over the capacity and also the form factor, because this is interesting. The Tenor sodium has a rated capacity of over 30 megawatt hours per unit, built on a fully modular architecture. Each module weighs under 42 tons, and a full 1 gigawatt hour installation requires 34 entire modules. It supports 1, 2, 4, and 6, and 8 as well, hour storage durations with energy and also power blocks decoupled, so you can configure it to the needs of a specific project like a hospital or a grid near a wind turbine or something like that, and without redesign basically. It has very, very good cycle life. CATL are actually claiming 15,000 cycles at 25 degrees Celsius, which is down to 70% state of health after that, so that will still work perfectly fine. And that works out to a system life roughly of 25 to 30 years. For comparison, most LFP systems deployed today are rated somewhere between 6 and 10,000 cycles. So if the 15,000 cycle figure holds up, and then they're at 70%, if it holds up in independent testing, the lifetime cost per kilowatt hour stored could be quite competitive, I think. Let's talk about temperature performance, and this is worth explaining properly. Cold weather performance historically has been one of sodium ion's genuine weaknesses compared to LFP chemistry, contrary to popular belief actually, and the reason is straightforward. Chemistry. Sodium ions are larger and heavier than lithium ions, which means that they actually move more slowly through electrolyte at low temperature. So it's kind of like a tennis ball rather than a golf ball. When you're trying to push it through some water or something, it's going to be harder to push it through. So that sort of sluggishness hits capacity, and it's also been one of the main reasons that sodium ion hasn't been considered ready for colder climates. And that's kind of like, I'm really dumbing that down, but that's how you would sort of talk about it, I suppose, to kind of make it make sense. CATL says they've largely solved this with the chemistry, and the Tenor sodium unit claims over 92% capacity retention at minus 20 degrees Celsius and over 10,000 cycles at 45 degrees Celsius without additional insulation or forced cooling. So if those numbers actually are real, and that is that's the bit that we'll need to really watch and see some independent testing, it would represent a really meaningful step forward for the technology safety, basically. There is one other really important point which I'll get to. So this doesn't get talked about enough as well. If a sodium cell goes into thermal runaway, because they theoretically can, and not very often, but they could do, the surface temperatures stay around 200 degrees Celsius. Lithium ions lithium ion in the same scenario can exceed 500. So CATL reports as well 35% less gas generation and also 40% less cell expansion during operation, of course, because often you need to compress the cells when you're using them. For anyone thinking about where these systems actually get sited, probably near substations on around national grids, near communities, small villages and things like that, hospitals, basically just near a big load center or maybe even a data center at this point. Thermal profile is a meaningful practical difference. And yeah, CATL has developed a bidirectional voltage control system specifically for sodium chemistry, which is a really useful thing. And they say it improves round trip efficiency by nearly 2% compared to standard approaches. So that's 2%. That's quite a big difference, really, given what they're trying to do with it. So they've also cut the system's self-consumption rate from the industry average of 2% to 1%, though through improved ventilation and liquid cooling. So that should really help it just stay nice and cool on hot days. Over decades of operation, for 20, 30 years, those numbers add up to like real money. So yeah, the tenor sodium is dimensionally identical to LFP storage systems. That is one of the crucial bits here, because they've got the same footprint and the same connections, some different electronics, granted, or settings in the electronics. Developers do not need to separate engineering or separate permitting. You can simply just effectively drop in sodium where where you'd want sodium batteries, and lithium iron phosphate batteries where you'd want that chemistry. So that is a very deliberate commercial strategy from CATL, and it is it significantly lowers the barrier to adoption for local grids around the world. So let's talk about production a little bit. CATL has been working on sodium ion since 2016, I believe, and by 2020 they basically just cracked it, and it was very, very good, and they've done some testing in the last few years. And now they've obviously improved it to 175 watt hours per kilowatt. They've spent in the last 5 years 1.2 billion euros in the full manufacturing chain to make it more efficient to produce it. So that's a very big deal. They've got 40 gigawatt hours of sodium capacity being built in I think it's called Fujian, with another 160 gigawatt hours planned in a place called Shandong in China. In April, they signed a 60 gigawatt hour supply agreement with Hyperstrong. I actually talked about this the other day, which is a very big record actually for the sodium industry. At this point, it's still very early days, but it is just coming online in this last 6 months and the next 1 or 2 years ahead of us. So the first deliveries will be in China. They will be in September, in a couple of months' time, with a target of 1 gigawatt hour shipped by the year end. Global deliveries will follow in June 2027. That's when we're going to start seeing it in Europe, for example. CATL's chairman, Robin Zeng, he has actually publicly said sodium ion could eventually replace 30 to 40% of the existing battery market when you look at the investment, the production capacity, and the commercial agreements already signed. It is clear that they're treating sodium as a core part of the business, not just as a sort of side project. Sodium will not replace lithium. I did say the other day, actually, that I personally would say, it's not really a guess, it's more just a bit of speculation. I do think 30 to 50% is what I said, and then Robin said 30 to 40% in the next few years, I reckon, of batteries are going to be sodium. But for stationary grid storage, grid scale storage, like the really big stuff, and where energy density matters a lot less than cost, longevity is like the most important thing. And supply chain resilience is also the second or third most important thing. I guess you'd have to ask the business, the CEOs and the business owners, I guess, to put it into some sort of order for you. It is starting to make a very strong case for itself, I think, at this point. So I'll be watching the September deliveries very, very closely. I will talk about that. If there's anything meaningful to report, I'll report on that. And, when will we have some real world data to look at? That's obviously something that I'm very, very keen to see. So make sure you subscribe for that. If you'd like to book a one-on-one consultation with me, whether that is about your next EV purchase or solar setup at home or at work, if you've got a business, or battery storage setup for your home or for your business, the link for that is below. You can book that. And a very big thank you to these people who are members on YouTube or Patreon supporters, or anyone who's just bought me a coffee. That is genuinely appreciated. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I have had a busy week, so I've just been checking all the comments in the last couple of days, and loads of good comments. Thank you so much to everyone for all the comments, and see you in the next video.